welcome to CX Exchange Success Hour. Today's session is how to use LinkedIn strategically and build powerful relationships. And this is really looking at around the topic of like social selling or how to multi-thread with your clients so that you can actually connect with those executives and they feel more at ease talking to you. But these types of skills actually apply to pretty much any type of relationship building that you're going to do on LinkedIn. So everyone is welcome here today. We are so excited to have Sandy Yu back this evening. Sandy Yu is co-leading on it. Let me stop sharing for a second. Sandy, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself for folks who may not know you.
Hi, everybody. I know some of you here, so great to see all of you. My name is Sandy Yu, and I have been a longtime corporate person. And then a couple years ago, I decided to start my own business, helping my clients with customer-led growth, driving new revenue from existing customer base. And recently, I am now working for a global enterprise again. So I am really passionate about this project, about this topic, because I feel like it's an area that people can sometimes are hesitant to explore. And my goal today is really to give you some framework to think through how you can prepare yourself so that you can take advantage of it. And my deep hope is that you try it, because that's what I'd love for you to do.
And I think too, what inspired us for this topic is we were discussing is that oftentimes, people will go to LinkedIn when they're looking for a role, and then they get into a role and then they stop networking and they just think of LinkedIn only when they're job searching. And that is just a small sliver of the power of LinkedIn and in terms of how you can build your network. And I see Christine shaking her head yes vigorously, and I know she agrees, and so Melanie. So we will definitely want to hear from you all on this, but really building out your network has so many different applications. Not just you should always build out your network of colleagues, but also how you use it in your business, in how you work. It's just has so much potential here. So let's go ahead and dig into the first slide here then. So how to use LinkedIn strategically. The first key thing, and it might feel intimidating, like Sandy was saying, but really around multi-threading, right? When you can identify who the various stakeholders are in your book of business that you may have, or, just the companies that you're supporting. So Sandy, why don't I hand it
can
over
I
to
just
you?
get a show of hands? How many are hoping to do this with their clients? So as a CSM or as an account manager, can I get a show of hands just to steer away for me to see everybody's hands?
Yeah.
Can you unshare so I can, because I want to see people. Okay.
Yes.
So about 4 people, only 4 of you are using this for your clients. Does that mean the other 30 of you are hoping to use it for your personal, whether to get a job or just a deeper connection? Okay, raise your hand if it's the second. Okay, so I think it's the same approach could actually use for both. And I think just like Jan says, first of all, don't wait till it's just like your in-person network. Don't wait till you need it to build it. So this approach will apply to both. The foundation of it, and let me make sure I'm not going off track already. The foundation of it is you have to let people know who you are, right? And that's the second part about your brand. But think about who you want to connect with and why. And so it seems like most of you are here to say, how do I get that next job? And one of the ways I want to share with you right off the bat is that you need to determine who you want to connect with on LinkedIn.
Right. So that's actually here, this next bullet here. But just before we go there, let's just start with regardless of how you're thinking, whether you're using this for multi-threading or if you're using this for if you're using this to network with just, colleagues in the community, or if you're using it specifically for your next job. There's also solopreneurs here that are, doing it for their business. There's all the different ways, but ultimately you want to think about who are you trying to connect with? And there are lots of ways you can do that search initially, right? Where you're searching for the type of company, you're searching for the type of role, and you can do those searches and find who those folks are. Now you think, okay, great. So I identified these 10 people that I want to connect with, that I want to build relationships with. So I'm just going to go and connect with them. Exactly. And what happens is exactly that. Because what happens is they don't know you from Adam.
Correct.
Right? So some stranger wants to connect with them. And even if it's a really nice message, there's so much selling on LinkedIn and that sort of thing. It's just like, I don't know, maybe. I just don't know that person. Guess not. In fact, I know some people who will not connect with someone that they don't know. Now, I also know that there are people that I have met online, like Sandy Yu, who I didn't know at all. When I started interacting with her on LinkedIn and then in the community and all of that, I never met her in person even, right? But I felt like I knew her. Rachel Proven, another example. We commented on each other's posts for 6 months. And finally, I'm like, we have to meet. And I scheduled a Zoom call with her, right? There are people, I was at SaaStr last week. There are people I met for the first time in 5 years in person. But we knew each other and hugged each other because of the relationships we built and started off in LinkedIn. Now, you may not hug your client, or you might. I was a hugger, they had to deal with it.
I do.
Exactly. But regardless, the thing is you think about, how do you start to comment on their posts?
Yeah.
Whether it's an older post or a current post, not in a stalkerish kind of way, but in a smart way, where you contribute something and then they say, oh, I like that, right? Or you're supporting their posts because then it gets boosted whenever there's comments, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it may be, that's the initial way you want to interact, right? Is where you're doing the comments and you're getting to know them, so that then when you go to connect with them, because this is for the long haul, this isn't like a quick, try and connect right away. This is then when you go to connect with them, then you say, hey, I loved that post. Or sometimes I do it even after just one post that I love of their post. And I'll say, loved your post on blah, blah, blah. Would love, looking forward to seeing more of your comment, more of your posts in my feed, right? And then and then you have a way for them to actually say, oh, this person likes me, this person noticed me, right? And then they want to connect with you. So I just want to start there and mention,
absolutely. And let me make it even more actionable, actually. So whether it's you're job searching or you're trying to connect those 4 people that are trying to connect, identify who they are, get the companies, and then get the 5 people that are in, if you're in customer success or account manager, what you want is someone that is making the ultimate decision, someone that's the next level up, and then a peer. So for each company or each department that you need to work with, you want to identify those 3 ideally. And then the next thing you need to do is say, are those people on LinkedIn? When was the last time they made a post? Because it's possible that the VP of customer success for your dream company is not on LinkedIn or is not very active on LinkedIn. And so that's how you start eliminating who you don't need to, you can deprioritize. So first, select the top 10, and then the 5 people on that. And then you start checking to see if they're on LinkedIn. And then just like Jan said, they will, I think this is a well-known statistic, very few people comment. Even fewer people comment interestingly.
Yeah.
right? So it's not enough to just, I will have a list of don't do's, right? But imagine you, right? If I'm trying to get in touch with Kathy, is Kathy going to notice me if I just give her a thumbs up? Or is Kathy going to notice me and say, when you posted about that article you said, I'm curious about blah, blah, blah. So that's a first big tip. Ask a question.
Right.
Because it shows that you're curious. And then because so few people actually say something that's not good post, nice job, congratulations, or happy birthday, so then they will notice that. And they won't notice the first time you do it. They may not even notice the fifth time you do it. So this is definitely a long-term strategy for you to build that network. So find the company or the department, find the people, and then you have to spend time to see what they care about. Because a lot of times they're not posting about work. They're not just reposting things about their company. They're posting about them going to a conference, or they're posting about what they heard about a piece of news, right?
Sandy?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Hey there. What do you think about call outs where I make a post that may be adjacent to something that they said, and then I call them out and say, but I read this with Sandy, and Sandy, what do you think? What can you add to this?
Yeah, I think you can definitely do that. I may say that after you've engaged for a while. So I think timing makes a difference. The first time, if I don't know you, I haven't seen you. So even if they don't engage with you, they may see you, but eventually maybe they will put a little like on your post, right? That you kind of like build it. You don't go in for the kiss the first time you meet someone, right? So you probably start with, hey, and then maybe you shake hands, and then, eventually graduate to a hug. So that's the thing I wanted to kind of give you kind of actionable steps. So find the company, department, the people, read about them, and then start commenting meaningfully. And I don't mean write a paragraph.
Right.
I mean, don't write a long paragraph.
Right.
So, but it's something that's, so I think one of the questions on chat is, how do I stand out? That's how you stand out on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right? Because you show that you actually care to actually read. A lot of people just put a thumbs up without reading. Right? And so you want to stand out from that. And again, any other questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and ask.
And then also, we'll go to you in Kathy second, but also like the idea of it sounds like stalking or lurking, in a way it is, you're researching your clients, you're keeping, track of them, you're understanding who they are. Sure, you can call it that in a way, but, stalking is, stalking is when you have sort of nefarious goals and you don't. And lurking is when you're not really participating and trying to exchange ideas, and you are. So I wouldn't really characterize it as either of those. I would say that really what you're doing is you're engaging, right? You're strategically engaging with your clients. And, if you didn't really comment or anything, but you just looked up all these things on their social media everywhere, and then you showed up at a meeting and you said, oh, so how was little Johnny's baseball game? And you're like, what? Whereas if you had liked their post about Johnny's baseball game and made a comment like, wow, that's awesome. Then if you show up at a meeting and say, hey, I saw your post about Johnny's baseball game. Awesome. Good for Johnny. Right? That's different. That feels more engaging. Right? So there's just, it's as much of what you bring to this, right? In terms of how you're engaging. And then just thinking about too, but we probably should have put this first, because I know, Sandy, you were getting into it first, but you do want to have your LinkedIn profile set up in a way so that if they say, why is Jan commenting about Johnny's baseball game? And then they go and actually click and they're like, oh, Jan works at yada yada company. Yeah, we have that vendor. Oh, that's cool. Whatever. Right. So then they just know who you are. Right. Whereas if you have no information, and it's not really set up, and they're still like, why is Jan commenting about Johnny? I have no idea. All right, Kathy, what were your questions here?
Sandy just answered it. I was going to ask her to restate the column A, column B, column C, people you needed to get, and you just did. So thank you.
Okay.
You're
Awesome.
welcome. Fran, did you have a question too? Oh, you're good. Okay.
Yeah, no, I did have a question.
Okay.
I have been trying to spend as little time on LinkedIn as possible lately, given the tenor of so many of the posts, since I'm a job seeker, and there's such negativity on there right now, and it's just really hard to miss. But that said, I don't want to miss, posts by people that I'm interested in.
Then Fran,
Anyway, that was my question.
so look for certain people
Okay.
and go and comment on their feeds. And then what happens is the LinkedIn algorithm changes. And it doesn't give you the negativity, it gives you the kinds of conversations that you want to participate in. That's your algorithm.
And
Thank
also
you
there's
very
a
much.
post.
I don't have any negativity in my feed. I see some really awesome stuff going on.
So Fran, is your question is like, how do I know when those people are going to be posting something? Is that your question?
Well, it's more like, I think generally, sort of, but generally answered it. I just need, I have a lot of people that I follow that I'm interested in, but it sounds like I'm really going to have to spend some serious time focused on looking up their feeds, up their posts, like spend an hour or two, an hour a day, just like searching for the people I'm most interested in, making some comments if it's appropriate, and then going back to my normally scheduled programming of hunting for a job and applying to those jobs.
A lot of people do schedule a half hour to an hour to stay in touch with the community through LinkedIn. Whether you are a solopreneur, if you're in business, or if you're doing it for job searching or doing it for, your book of business, that is something that people, will often do if they're going to just build out the relationships. And so, I think if you can always time box it and just say, okay, I'm going to do half an hour a day, or, whatever it is that you feel like you can give to it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure we cover, there was a question about branding as well.
Mhm.
Brand is what people think of you. And I think one of the things I want all of you to think about is, what do I want to be known for? Being in corporate for 20 years, I could rattle off my titles, but that's not what's on my LinkedIn profile. So I think it's something that you have to build intentionally, because when you've done the first part of connecting and getting the interest of the person you're trying to get interested, they're going to come to your profile. They're like, you know what? Sandy's been commenting on my stuff. Who is she? Right? Like, the interest. And then if my LinkedIn says, oh, director of customer experience, and like, oh, okay, that's fine. But Jan, can I share my profile for a sec?
Sure.
I just want to share. Okay, I can't share. There we go.
You should be able to.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll just share the desktop. I'll let you guys see. So what I have on what I've decided to put on my profile is, what is it that I do, not my title. And this is controversial because a lot of people say, in order to optimize the search engine, when recruiters are searching, you have to put the title in. But my perspective is that my titles are actually in my job description below anyway. This is the only thing that people are going to see when they click on me for the first time, right? And so I like to say, let them know a little bit about me. I'm a relentlessly positive potentialist. And I have a mantra, my 3 Bs: be kind, be curious, and be a good human. Like, a lot of people resonate with that and they comment on that. And now they know a little bit more about me. So I think one thing is, I want to be known as a kind and curious good human. So think about, as you're putting together just this profile title, you can put in all of your titles or the companies you were with. You could do that. Or you can let this person that's clicking on you for the first time, is like meeting someone for the first time. Do you always tell them, oh yeah, I work at so-and-so, or I'm the business owner of so-and-so? Or,
Right.
do you say, I'm a tennis player and I have 2 kids?
And that, I think that depends on what your goals are on LinkedIn currently. And you can change this all the time, right?
Exactly. Good point.
It doesn't have to be just what your job title is. That will be the default. You can make it, sometimes you can make it the job title that you're going for. Sometimes you can make it that it's the job title you have. Sometimes you do it as, this is how you help people. It just varies, depending upon what your goals are, right? And so it's great to point out, thank you, Sandy. It's great to point out that, that you can get as creative as you want to be, right? And that gets into what your goal is. What are you trying to do on LinkedIn? How are you trying to spend your time? How much time are you going to spend on LinkedIn? Engaging consistently, though, is something that is going to help. In terms of, then they'll see when you post, they'll be more likely to then engage back. And I think that ultimately, when you're trying to build that relationship, if they may comment back, but if not, they will certainly start to notice you. And by the time that you are connecting with them, which, whatever, it may not be like, it can be a few weeks. It doesn't have to be like you're not waiting a year to connect with them or something, but still you can make certain that it's something where they feel more comfortable with you. And then otherwise, we're just talking about a few don'ts here. So I know we need to get to breakout rooms.
Yep.
Just be sure, that you do make it genuine and professional. You don't have to just add a like or something. It's always helpful to have a point of view. If it's someone you don't know, you may not want to be controversial when you first get to know them, kind of thing. But at the same time, because it is professional, you want them to actually engage with you. But also, if you happen to see another post of theirs that isn't from today or a week ago, and you want to go and comment on it, that's totally fine. You may not want to do that like 3 or 4 posts all in a row, just because then they're going to be like, you're going through my profile, aren't you? You know what I mean? But otherwise, it's the kind of thing that it pops up for them. If you're going through your notifications tab, it will pop up for them and they'll say like, oh, wow, my post is still out there and somebody thought it was good. That's nice. Right.
Yeah. And I saw Luana actually try to comment on 5 people's posts.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Remember, Jan says be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Hold yourself to something minimal, like every day, 3 times a week, I'm going to comment on these people that I want the attention from. Again, you're cultivating a network. You're trying to get people's attention. So you do have to invest in the time to do that. There's really no magic bullet, unfortunately. And I can't say that, hey, once you comment it 5 times, then they will get back to you. So just try to make it a practice.
I do actually. I feel like I comment on a lot of people's posts and always hoping for reciprocity.
They may or may not, but that doesn't mean you aren't building a relationship there.
Yeah.
You know.
So but look, they will know your name. They may know, how do I know this name? Let's see your name come across their desk as a resume, right?
Yeah.
You're like, how do I know that name, right? It's about being top of mind. That's what LinkedIn gives you the access to. Before, we had no access to those people.
Right. And if you are then, sending out an invite to a meeting, then they'll recognize your name then too.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's
So
true.
whether you're doing it for job search or whether you're doing it for business, people will be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna meet with Jan today. Okay, cool. Like it's because they've heard your name. I comment more than I post, frankly. And people think I have like this presence on LinkedIn and they assume that I post every day. I don't. There's times I get so lost in comments that I don't have time to post. So
And that's another thing, right? In addition to connecting with people, you can actually post your point of view on something and then tag some of the people, right? That's another way to say, hey, let's say I want to write about kind of the influence of digital, right? And then I say, okay, let me tag Melanie and then let me tag Joshua to say kind of what are their thoughts about it. Or even ask the question, say, hey, Carrie, I remember you can put in the post. I remember you said about this. Is that on point? So feel free to use it as a conversation. And the lifespan of, even though posts stay there forever, people's attention like turns over really fast. This morning, true story, I posted 2 versions of the same post. So I had to take one down afterwards. One had picture, one had not. One had edited, I didn't. So 5 people had put a thumbs up on one. I just deleted. So it's okay to make mistakes on LinkedIn. I think the thing to keep watch out for is just try not to be overwhelmed by it.
okay, so we're gonna go to breakouts. You can see the questions here. I just posted over in the Slack, in the chat. I'm sorry. The links again. Kathy, do you want to maybe just post it one more time? And I will go ahead and create the breakout rooms now. And let's see. So I'm going to make them a little smaller. The slides go to September 3rd slides. Oh, you're right, because I have the old link to the slides. Shoot.
I enjoyed looking at them though in the
Yeah,
presentation.
that was kind of fun. So let me
Yes.
get you the links. I had to update that and I didn't. Sorry about that. I thought I was being
Does anyone have, while Jan is working on that, does anyone have, one of the questions in the breakout rooms is like, why haven't you commented on or used LinkedIn as an approach? Does anyone want to kind of share their story?
Why don't we go to breakout rooms because we're really, really late. We only have 15 more minutes.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, so I'm going to make the room small and intimate and enjoy, and I'll bring you back in 15 minutes.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Success Hour, formerly known as CS Office Hours. We regularly put out new content, so to be the first to know, like this episode, tap that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and we look forward to seeing you soon.